Ezekiel Chapter 5. And you, son of man, take a sharp sword, take it as a barber's razor and pass it over your head and over your beard, then take scales to weigh with, and divide the hair. 1/3 you shall burn in the middle of the city when the days of the siege are fulfilled, and you shall take 1/3 and strike it with the sword all around the city, and 1/3 you shall scatter to the wind, and I will draw a sword after them. And you shall take from there a few in number and bind them in the edges of your garment. And you shall take again from them and cast them into the midst of the fire, and you shall burn them in the fire, from them fire will go forth against all the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord Jehovah, this is Jerusalem, I have set her in the midst of the nations, and around her are countries. But she has rebelled against my judgments in wickedness more than the nations and against my statutes more than the countries that surround her, for they have rejected my judgments and have not walked in my statutes. Therefore thus says the Lord Jehovah, because you have been more turbulent than the nations that surround you and have not walked in my statutes and have not kept my judgments and have not even kept the judgments of the nations that surround you. Therefore thus says the Lord Jehovah, indeed I, even I, am against you, and I will execute judgments in your midst in the sight of the nations. And I will do among you that which I have not done and the like of which I will never do again, because of all your abominations. Therefore fathers will eat the sons in your midst, and sons will eat their fathers, and I will execute judgments upon you, and I will scatter all your remnant toward all the winds. Therefore as I live, declares the Lord Jehovah, surely because you have defiled my sanctuary with all your detestable things and all your abominations, therefore I will also withdraw my eye that it not pity you, nor will I spare. 1/3 of you will die by pestilence, and they will be consumed by famine in the midst of you, and 1/3 will fall by the sword surrounding you, and 1/3 I will scatter toward all the winds, and I will draw a sword after them. Thus my anger will be spent, and I will cause my wrath to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they will know that I, Jehovah, have spoken in my zeal when I spend my wrath upon them. Moreover I will make you a desolation and a reproach among the nations that surround you, in the sight of all who pass by. Thus she will be a reproach and a taunt, a warning and a horror, to the nations that surround you, when I execute judgments upon you in anger and wrath and furious rebukes. I, Jehovah, have spoken. When I send against them the evil arrows of famine, which are for destruction and which I will send to destroy you, I will increase the famine upon you and will break your staff of bread. Thus I will send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they will make you childless, and pestilence and blood will pass through you, and I will bring a sword upon you. I, Jehovah, have spoken. Ezekiel Chapter 6. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face toward the mountains of Israel, and prophesy against them. And say, Mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Jehovah. Thus says the Lord Jehovah to the mountains and the hills, to the ravines and the valleys, I am now bringing a sword upon you, and I will destroy your high places. And your altars will be desolated, and your sun images will be broken, and I will make your slain fall before your idols. And I will lay the corpses of the children of Israel before their idols, and I will scatter your bones around your altars. In all the places that you dwell the cities will be laid waste and the high places will be desolated, so that your altars may be laid waste and desolated, and your idols may be broken and brought to an end, and your sun images may be cut down, and your works may be blotted out. And the slain will fall in your midst, and you will know that I am Jehovah. But I will leave a remnant, in that you will have those who have escaped the sword among the nations, when you are scattered among the countries. And those of you who escape will remember me among the nations to which they are carried away, how I am broken with their heart of harlotry, which turned away from me, and with their eyes that go as harlots after their idols, and they will loathe themselves in their own sight for the evils that they have done, for all their abominations. And they will know that I am Jehovah. I have not said in vain that I would do this ill to them. Thus says the Lord Jehovah, clap your hands and stamp your foot and say, Alas for all the evil abominations of the house of Israel. For they will fall by sword, famine, and pestilence. He who is far off will die by the pestilence, and he who is near will fall by the sword, and he who is left remaining and is besieged will die by the famine. Thus I will spend my wrath on them. Then you will know that I am Jehovah, when their slain are among their idols around their altars, on every high hill, on all the mountaintops, under every green tree, and under every leafy terebinth, the places where they offered a sweet savor to all their idols. So I will stretch out my hand against them and will make the land desolate, indeed, more desolate than the wilderness of Diblath, in all the places that they dwell, and they will know that I am Jehovah. Ezekiel Chapter 7. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Now you, son of man, thus says the Lord Jehovah to the land of Israel, an end. The end has come upon the four corners of the land. Now the end is upon you. And I will send my anger against you and will judge you according to your ways, and I will bring upon you all your abominations. And my eye will not pity you, nor will I spare, but I will bring your ways upon you, and your abominations will be in your midst, and you will know that I am Jehovah. Thus says the Lord Jehovah, a unique ill. It has now come. An end is coming, the end is coming. It has awakened against you, it has now come. Doom has come to you, you who inhabit the land, the time has come, the day is near tumult and not the joyful shout on the mountains. Now I will shortly pour out my wrath on you and spend my anger against you, and I will judge you according to your ways and bring all your abominations upon you. My eye will not pity, nor will I spare. I will render to you according to your ways, and your abominations will be in your midst, and you will know that it is I, Jehovah, who strikes. Indeed the day it has now come. Doom has gone forth. The rod has blossomed, pride has budded. Violence has risen up as a rod of wickedness. Nothing of them remains, nothing of their multitude, nothing of their wealth, and no eminence among them. The time has come, the day has drawn near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is against all their multitude. For the seller will not return to what he has sold, while they live among the living, for the vision, which regards all the land's multitude, will not be turned, not one of them will assure his life by his iniquity. They have blown the trumpet and have made everything ready, but no one goes to the battle, for my wrath is against all the land's multitude. The sword is outside, and pestilence and famine are inside. He who is in the field will die by the sword, and he who is in the city will be devoured by famine and pestilence. And those of them who escape will escape, and they will be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, each for his iniquity. All hands will drop, and all knees will melt into water. And they will gird themselves with sackcloth, and shuddering will cover them, and on all their faces there will be shame, and baldness on all their heads. Their silver will they cast into the streets, and their gold will be an impurity. Their silver and their gold will not be able to deliver them on the day of Jehovah's overflowing wrath. They cannot satisfy their souls nor fill their inward parts, for their iniquity has become a stumbling block to them. And they turned the beauty of his ornaments into pride, and they made the images of their abominations, of their detestable things, with it, therefore I make it an impurity to them. And I will give it into the hands of strangers as plunder and to the wicked of the earth as spoil, and they will profane it. I will also turn my face from them, and they will profane my secret place, indeed the robbers will enter it and profane it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes and the city is full of violence. Therefore I will bring the worst of the nations, and they will possess their houses, and I will put an end to the pride of the strong, and their holy places will be profaned. Anguish comes, and they seek peace, but there is none. Disaster upon disaster will come, and there will be rumor upon rumor. Then they will seek a vision from a prophet, but instruction will perish from the priest, and counsel from the elders. The king will mourn, and the prince will be clothed with horror, and the hands of the people of the land will tremble. According to their ways I will deal with them, and by their judgments I will judge them, and they will know that I am Jehovah. Ezekiel Chapter 8. And in the 6th year, in the 6th month, on the 5th of the month, as I sat in my house and the elders of Judah sat before me, the hand of the Lord Jehovah fell upon me there. Then I looked, and there was a likeness like the appearance of fire, from his loins and downward, the appearance of fire, and from his loins and upward something like the appearance of brightness, like the sight of electrum. And he stretched out the form of a hand and took me by a lock of my head, and the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and heaven and brought me to Jerusalem in the visions of God, to the entrance of the gate of the inner court that faces north, where the seat of the idol of jealousy was, which provokes to jealousy. And the glory of the God of Israel was there, like the appearance that I saw in the plain. Then he said to me, Son of man, lift up your eyes now toward the north. Thus I lifted up my eyes toward the north, and there, toward the north at the altar gate, was this idol of jealousy at the entry. And he said to me, Son of man, do you see what they are doing, the great abominations that the house of Israel is committing here, that I should be far from my sanctuary? But you will yet see greater abominations. Then he brought me to the entrance of the court, and I looked, and there was a hole in the wall. And he said to me, Son of man, dig now through the wall. So I dug through the wall, and there was now an entrance. And he said to me, Go and see the wicked abominations that they are committing here. Thus I entered and looked, and there were every form of creeping thing and detestable beast and all the idols of the house of Israel, engraved on the wall all around. And standing before them were 70 men of the elders of the house of Israel, with Jazaniah the son of Shaphan standing among them, each with his censer in his hand, and the smell of the incense cloud went up. And he said to me, Do you see, Son of man, what the elders of the house of Israel do in the dark, each in the room of his engraved images? For they say, Jehovah does not see us, Jehovah has forsaken the land. And he said to me, You will yet again see greater abominations that they are committing. Then he brought me to the entrance of the gate of the house of Jehovah that was toward the north, and women weeping for Tammuz were sitting there. And he said to me, Do you see, Son of man? You will yet again see greater abominations than these. Then he brought me into the inner court of the house of Jehovah, and there, at the entrance of the temple of Jehovah, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of Jehovah and their faces toward the east, and they were worshipping the sun toward the east. And he said to me, Do you see this, Son of man? Is it too light a thing for the house of Judah to commit the abominations that they commit here, that they also fill the land with violence and again provoke me to anger? And now they are putting the branch to their nose. Therefore I will also deal with them in wrath. My eye will not pity, nor will I spare, and though they cry in my ears with a loud voice, I will not listen to them.